Tony, I don't want to pigeonhole you in any such way because you will have perspective on this in a way that I will probably not lead you, but I'm going to direct the first question and then you can take it from there.
Sure.
Nick Saban, if he was irritated and not understanding and not agreeing with the way all of this is headed, could just make some generic statements concerning, the NCAA should be allowed to do X, Y, and Z. We need to, the antitrust portion of his statement would be the direction that this would be headed. He could even generically state, hey, things are going on like A, B, and C. But he specifically just ramrodded Texas A&M, also went the Jackson State route with Deion Sanders, and also Miami on the basketball front. So he either, and again, I stated this a few minutes ago, that if you're a believer in Nick Saban's character and integrity, knows that they are running amok and not adhering to the guidelines and the laws in place. Or if you're not a believer in Nick Saban's integrity, you're thinking he's just whining and complaining because he's not getting his way.
Sure.
And he's calling people out.
I think, I go back to my days in journalism school. And one of my early journalism professors used to tell us, when you're done writing the story, take your fingers off the keyboard, stop writing. What Nick Saban said last night for much of his speech, because I watched all of it early this morning, he was correct. He was absolutely correct about a lot of things. We published a piece a few days ago about the collective versus the NIL. They are not the same thing. They are not even close to the same thing. The NIL was intended to be, a local sponsor. We'll use a car dealer who wanted to get the quarterback from Mark Rogers University. And the quarterback goes and does some marketing and does some promotion, and they use his name, image, and likeness. And he gets paid $10,000, $15,000 from the car dealer, whatever it may be. And that was a direct connection specifically for the use of name, image, and likeness. As our article stated over the weekend, the collectives, and I don't say this lightly, the collectives are legalized money laundering, because you're getting money in from a lot of different sources. You're getting in from alums, boosters, sponsors, whatever it may be. And then you, as the collective, are doling out the money to chosen players, a lot of times with no regard as to where the money came from. Because if your $10,000 that you're giving your wide receiver, it was $10,000 from a booster, that violates NCAA rules. It violates NIL rules in most states. It is a complete aberration from what was intended with the NIL. You have schools that are paying offensive linemen $50,000 a piece just to be offensive linemen at their school. That's not name, image, and likeness. That's suiting up in our uniform and playing. Nick was right. This is a problem, and it's a huge problem that the NCAA has no control over right now. The horse is out of the barn. And as someone who rides horses, at least once a week, I can tell you they don't like going back in the barn when they don't want to. And then Nick went off the rails from there. He was right. And then, whoa, he was so far wrong. He tried defending the NCAA by saying, we're here because of the litigation against the NCAA. No, absolutely not. We're here because the NCAA failed to see the writing on the wall years ago of what could have been and should have been, and where they could have played a role in managing and monitoring what was going on. And Mark Emmert acted with such hubris that he was certain that even as he lost lawsuits at the appellate level and the circuit court level, that he was going to win at the Supreme Court. So no, this is not because of litigation against the NCAA. This is because of the NCAA that we are in the situation we're in. Then, as you point out, he took it personal. He went at Jimbo Fisher. He went at Deion Sanders. He went at these guys with really nothing more than than proof and innuendo. Because if you're going to make those claims, you better be able to back them up. And part of the reason we can't back them up is I blame some of my colleagues across the country, none who work for Last Word, but writers and media across the country who aren't making the distinction between what is supposed to be and what is, what NIL was supposed to be and what we are doing, and what is reality, right? We all saw the story about this quarterback, high school quarterback from Southern California who's getting $8 million to go to Tennessee. Really? Where is it? Where is the paperwork? Because let me tell you, we have one of your regular guests from our site, Travis Kenobi, is a licensed attorney in 2 states, and he has helped me go through the paperwork of the NIL laws in every state that has them. It would be a violation of Tennessee state law to make that inducement, not just NCAA rules, Tennessee state law to make that inducement. So where is the paperwork? There isn't any. The reporter who broke the story was taking the player and his NIL attorney at their word. Come on. You got to do better than that, media. You got to go beyond the surface and dig a little deeper. So the media has presented stories which Nick Saban then jumped all over as fact. Has A&M paid all of these players to come play there? Again, it's a violation of state law in the state of Texas. So you're making some pretty significant accusations beyond just whatever's on the surface. And, I look at, Ross Bjork put out a statement about an hour ago. And of course, they stand behind their coaching staff. They stand behind Jimbo Fisher. They said they have done everything within the letter of the law within the state of Texas and the NCAA. Look, Nick, unless you can prove something otherwise, man, you can't go, flinging accusations like that they bought their entire recruiting class. Where's the receipts, man? You're going to make an accusation like that. As a journalist, if I make an accusation like that, I got to come with receipts. I'm going to hold Nick Saban to the same standard.